Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session, we're doing something a little bit different. We are talking about not how to play Wrecking Ball, not how to play Winston, but we're talking about how to play with a Wrecking Ball. We're also going to talk about Winston because Winston makes nice sort of baby steps to get there. They're both dive main tanks, they fit together quite nicely. But we did make a post about this over on the Overwatch University subreddit. You can check that out. Actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and link that real quick in our post here. But that is what we have here. So we're talking about how to play with Wrecking Ball. This isn't some like, oh yes, Wrecking Ball's on the ladder, you're going to be saved, everyone's going to know how to play with you, you are now saved, and people will engage when you want. That's never going to happen. It's just not. You, as always on ladder, just need to assume that, hey, what are you going to do? How are you going to get more value than the other team? How are you going to take over the game if you want to decisively climb, that sort of thing. But this is really for those people who want to go, yes, it would help you understand Wrecking Ball better if you don't understand him, but this is really for people who want to understand, how do I play with a Wrecking Ball? They've figured out, hey, I need to figure out how to make the best of every situation. They're not going to get the Reinhardt, the Orisa, the Sigma that they want every time. We could certainly talk about how to play with double off tank or how to play with poke tanks, things like that. We've done that before. But today we're going to talk about how to play with dive tanks because that's sort of the third archetype there. And specifically, we're talking a dive main tank, not so much talking about Diva. Don't really care what your off tank is. You could have Wrecking Ball plus Hog. You could have Wrecking Ball plus Sigma. You could have Wrecking Ball plus Diva, does Wrecking Ball plus Zarya, doesn't really matter to me. What we're talking about is how to play with a Wrecking Ball. And here's how we're going to look at this. Again, we're going to start with Winston as sort of baby's first dive tank here. And baby's first dive tank from the perspective of how do you play with them. So Winston is looking to accomplish a couple different things when he dives. When a Winston dives, and I can zoom in a little bit more here to make this a bit bigger, Winston is looking to do a couple things. We've got a red team, we've got a blue team. I've only got each team partially staffed. That's intentional. We're just keeping things simple. So let's say a Winston jumps on the enemy Ana. What does this do? Well, it does a couple things. In fact, let's put the Ana and the Zen together for a moment. This does a couple things. It pressures the Ana and the Zen in such a way that it threatens lethal. This now means that we could have some situation where we get, say, an Ashe on the Winston's team who hits a shot or throws a TNT in here. Let's get ourselves a nice, actually, let's use our Epic Pen. That's going to be a little faster to draw with. That's going to put us in a situation where, hey, the Winston will threaten them. It'll keep them low on health. It's probably not going to quickly eliminate those opponents all by themselves, but it is going to put them in such a place where we throw in a TNT or we hit a shot, and that threatens lethal. So we created elimination opportunities. That is one thing that tanks do. That is one thing that main tanks are especially good at. They struggle to eliminate targets all by themselves, though they certainly can do it. But they're really good at setting up opportunities. They set up opportunities both by putting targets low enough or, keeping them low enough or pulling out cooldowns that allows their DPS or their supports. We did this with an Ashe. You could just as easily do this with an Ananade, a Genji Dash. You could just as easily do this with lots of other tools. But they threaten them. They put them in a nice low place. That's pretty easy to understand. That's sort of like, hey, your Reinhardt puts a lot of damage into the other Reinhardt or into the other tanks, which forces a lot of, forces maybe the other Ana to pay attention to them, which allows your Tracer to eliminate the Ana. Nothing too complicated there. So this is like the first thing that a Winston is accomplishing. We all agree that this is good, this is helpful, this is useful. This is pretty simple to understand. It's just a matter of, is your team paying enough attention and does the Winston not feed while doing so? But then there's more to this. What else does a Winston accomplish when he goes in like this? And you'll note he's not fighting the Reinhardt. Yes, you can have Winston comps where you go, hey, we're playing Reinhardt plus Winston. The Winston is dropping his shield, allowing the Reinhardt to swing. The Winston is zapping from behind his Reinhardt. They're both doing lots of damage. This isn't the sort of Winston that people struggle to understand. This Winston right here, where it just plays with their Reinhardt, jumps into the front line, and their team, even if they don't understand tanking without a Reinhardt, still understand this like, yes, more shield, more frontline power. That is what they recognize as tanking, and that's not really really what we're talking about today. Just like we're not talking about double bubble Winston. That's another thing where, hey, Winston can pretty much jump into big groups of people and be just fine in that situation. Not what we're interested in, not what we care about. We're interested in the more standard Winston play when you don't have a Zarya, when you don't have a Reinhardt that you're going to go for that with. So if this Winston jumps on this Ana, what does it do? Well, it does a couple things. It's going to cause, let's get rid of this Ashe, that's overpowered. It's going to cause this Ana to kite a little bit, and it's going to cause people to look at this Winston to try to help peel for this Ana. This Ana's going to try to kite out so that they don't just get eliminated, kite away from the Winston, kite out of their bubble. The Zen is almost certainly going to move and put the Harmony Orb over on their Ana, because if they don't, again, they're going to be unhappy as the Ana. And the Ashe is probably going to turn and start shooting at this Winston here as well. So Zen is going to put that Harmony Orb and start shooting at the Winston or the Winston bubble. The Ana is going to kite themselves away. And we've turned multiple people to look at this Winston. Okay, great. What did that do? Well, there's less pressure now. It's a lot easier for, say, this Winston's, let's just give him a hero, this Winston's Tracer to go through here if the Ashe isn't paying attention. It's a lot easier for the Winston's Pharah to go, let me grab myself a Pharah. That would be wonderful to have. Come on, where's a Pharah? It's a lot easier for the Winston's Pharah to go, oh, I can E in now. Or echo, oh, I can E in now. I can just go walk right past this Reinhardt, fly right past this Reinhardt, E onto this Ashe, whatever, E onto this backline, because the Ashe turned away. The Zen turned away. There's a lot less suppressing fire. It's a lot easier for routes to open up for other heroes, as well as for people to just go in like that, because there's less pressure. We have taken space. This space that used to be threatened by, if we take a quick look at this space here used to be threatened by Zen, supported by Ana, supported by Zen, and threatened by Ashe, and threatened by Reinhardt. Now, this space is really only being threatened by Reinhardt. It might still have a Discord orb out here from the Zen, but Zen can't turn to reapply it. He's too busy paying attention to the Winston. So, hey, we just made space. We turned this person's attention, Ashe, Zen, both turned their attention, and we blocked out Ana, made her physically leave. We may even have made, let's pretend that this isn't an Ashe for a second. Let's instead make this Ashe, oh, I don't know, someone who maybe needs to move a little bit more like a Doomfist, and now instead of this Doomfist threatening the kill box of where your frontline wants to go in, he's going to potentially come back to peel for your Ana, that sort of thing. So, oh, he literally physically gave up space there, not just attention. But either way, you're accomplishing what you're intending to there, which is making space. Okay, but what does that do? Like, if you're playing with the Winston, what do? Some people turned their attention away. There's still a Reinhardt standing in front of you. What are you supposed to do when there's a Reinhardt standing in front of you? The Winston didn't do anything for you. Really? The Winston didn't do anything for you? You're going to have lower contribution from the Zen. You're going to have no contribution from the Ana. And you're going to have much lower contribution from the Ashe as well. And you can't figure out how to walk in. Let's just we're doing this as a 3v4 here. Your Hog and Zen, and I'm just using Hog as an example because he doesn't have a shield. We could do this with a Zarya, but then Zarya would be worried about Winston having double bubble. We don't want that. We could do this with a Diva, but then, oh, should your Diva? Doesn't really matter. The point is, any tank can walk at the Reinhardt, can walk through the Reinhardt at this point. Oh, but I'm scared. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. And even if you don't have a tank, you can still walk on this Reinhardt. You can fight this Reinhardt. You can fight a Reinhardt, and the Reinhardt is going to either go, oh, shoot, I don't like this. I have to, like, shield, hop my way backwards, get out of here. Oh, look, we just took space. How'd that work? Or he's going to try to fight, and he's going to die. Which is also great, because he's now in this situation where, again, this Ashe isn't enforcing this space on this Roadhog, this Zarya, this Brig, this whatever the case may be here, this, Moira. I don't really care. And so we're in this situation where, hey, this Reinhardt cannot effectively enforce this space by himself against 2-3 people that are trying to walk into it. It may still seem scary. We may be in a situation where, oh no, we don't like this. This is terrifying. And again, I've simplified this. This Rhine might have a Zarya with them. So no, the space is still perfectly enforced. No, because if they have a Zarya with them, we get into adding the extra people that blue team is supposed to have. So blue team's also going to have a Reaper or an Ashe or an Echo or whatever the case may be here. Doesn't really matter. But we pull effectively 2.5 people's attention away here, even 2 people's attention away here. This Reinhardt cannot just hold this space when his Ana isn't healing him and his Zen isn't paying attention to it. Especially if the Ashe, this is a great pull for the Winston, the Ashe isn't contributing as well. Now, if 3 people are peeling this Winston, is the Winston going to be able to stay in terribly long? No, of course not. He's going to leave after 4 or 5 seconds. That's perfectly normal. And the Reinhardt might not be dead after 4 or 5 seconds. But he's going to be in bad shape. He's either going to have had to have surrendered a lot of space, or he's going to be in a situation where he's now weak and, the Ana is desperately trying to catch up on him, that sort of thing, and oh hey, you're very much in this fight. So that is how it works when you're working with the Winston here. The Winston threatens lethal, sets up lethal opportunities for his teammates. The Winston physically turns people around or pushes people out of line of sight, etc. Like the Ashe turned to look at them, that sort of thing. And then we also create a situation where the front line is unsupported. So like it was easier for our Echo to get in if she wanted to, our Pharah to get in because the Ashe wasn't looking. It was also easier for our team to just push and fight the Reinhardt because the Reinhardt was unsupported. So you can sort of think of those as 3 different things that are being accomplished with Winston here. And that's sort of what I wanted to do with Winston to guide you guys through this. Don't worry, I will take questions at the end. But then we move on to Wrecking Ball, because Wrecking Ball is what I promised, what we're here for. Wrecking Ball is the one that's really the throw, right? Not really. Wrecking Ball can do all Winston can do, plus a little bit more. So let's take a quick look here, get our Winston off the board, and let's talk about Wrecking Ball. When are Wrecking Balls going to go in? Well, Wrecking Balls are going to go in a couple situations. I do need a poke hero now. You guys are poke heroes, that's fine. Wrecking Balls are going to go in a couple different situations. The standard Wrecking Ball timing would be, hey, zoom out a little bit. Wrecking Ball is going to go in and engage, force an engage in some way when his team is gathered up, has their people ready. Maybe it's 5 people at the choke. Maybe it's 3 people at the choke and 2 people elsewhere threatening different angles. Wouldn't that be nice? He's going to go in when his team looks like they're ready to push. And he's going to go, hey, maybe go in, hit a roll through, hit a pile drive, hit an adaptive shield, do some gunner mode, roll away. Oh, okay, great. Nice big heavy engagement. When the team was gathered, ready to go in, surely the team's going to recognize that and push. Well, that would be the key. Again, just like you could push on this Reinhardt when the Winston had turned a bunch of people, you can push on this Reinhardt when the Wrecking Ball has pulled a lot of attention to them. That's something that you can do even if it's a big scary Reinhardt in front of you, even if it's a big scary Hog Zarya in front of you. If they've had all of their support pulled, or they've had, meaningful amounts of support pulled, you are going to have to fight them. It should be a, 5 versus 4 or a 5 versus 3 type situation in those, and that is something that you have to take even if they seem like big, scary, heavy tanks, and you only have 1 tank, or maybe you don't even have a tank because your Sigma's off angling. Well, your Sigma is shooting at them. You just don't realize it. Okay, so that's like one thing that we look at and go, okay, that works, but that's not when the Wrecking Ball's engaged, Temporal. Like, they don't engage at the right time. They're just over there rolling at other times, paying no attention to the team. You can't see when they engage. Well, some of it is you do have to use your eyeballs and see when they engage. Like, you can see them through the map, through the geography, just like they can see you through the map and the geography. And yes, if they're good, they'll pay attention to when you're ready to engage. They'll engage when you're ready to engage, and then you'll be able to engage. Though you do still have to see that they're engaged and not just believe that they're doing their own thing. But you can see them through the map and make your guesstimates, make your estimates on, wait, we're here, Wrecking Ball just went in, oh yeah, we should go in. And your window is narrow for this. Wrecking Ball and Winston create smaller windows of the enemy, paying attention to them than Reinhardt does. But they also create more forceful windows. It's like a more powerful engage, but you have to react faster to that more powerful engage. It will turn more enemies. If a Reinhardt advances and his team is advancing behind him, that's not as powerful of an engage because, yes, the Reinhardt is absorbing pressure, yes, his shield, but like all of your damage threat is coming from the same direction. When a Wrecking Ball or a Winston turns a team around, that does quite a bit more in terms of, oh, hey, these are bigger openings for you to exploit here. But okay, so let's get into the other one, because sometimes this happens, but sometimes we have situations where, hey, Wrecking Ball isn't going and hitting the in when the whole team is ready. Wrecking Ball is going in when Moira is in spawn. What gives? What gives? Our Wrecking Ball is going in when Moira is in spawn. Well, a couple things can be happening here. Wrecking Ball is going in while Moira is in spawn. Let me get a place that makes sense here. Okay, yeah, that kind of sucks. Why is our Wrecking Ball going in and trying to fight while our Moira is still in spawn? Well, okay, there's a couple things. Hey, you know what? Let's not do Moira in spawn yet. Let's have Moira here. Why is our Wrecking Ball going in right now? Like, this isn't helpful. We can't actually fight anyone. Right now as blue team. We're in this situation. Wrecking Ball is going in early. He's just feeding ult charge. He's just giving away 250, 300 health, fighting this Ashe, fighting this Zen and Anna. He's doing this and it doesn't really help. This is stupid. Maybe it could be stupid, but what's probably going on, or what may be going on here, if your Wrecking Ball isn't actually throwing, and that is, of course, a possibility, but it's probably not what's going on. What's actually going on here is they're trying to create opportunities for the team to rotate. They might not have the perfect grasp of where their team is, because the reality is most of who we're talking to here is metal ranks, and metal rank tanks, just like metal rank not tanks, don't have perfect senses of engagement timing, don't have perfect ability to tell through walls exactly where their teammates are, because they don't understand exactly how the map is shaped, that sort of thing, how much distance there is, whatever. So what's going on here? Well, hitting this Ashe now creates the opportunity for this team to rotate. Just like this team would be used to going, hey, we have ourselves a Reinhardt, and because we have a Reinhardt, we can rotate through this spot with our shield to get to the spot that we actually want to be in, and then we'll round the corner and fight. Wrecking Ball doesn't have a shield that he can donate to his team. So his way of doing that is actually the same way Winston does it. Winston does not go, oh, let me drop my bubble, and because I've dropped my bubble, my team is able to walk forward. That is not how Winston helps his team rotate. Winston and Wrecking Ball help their team rotate the same way, and it is by going, I'm going to bother people, I'm going to do a mini hit, I'm going to do a soft dive on some of the people to pull some attention away to make this safer to rotate during, safer to get across this potentially open space in the rotation that his team could get shot at during. That's what you're looking at, and that may be why your Wrecking Ball is going in early. That would be one reason your Wrecking Ball is going in what seems to be early, because they're actually trying to help you rotate. Another reason that your Wrecking Ball might be going in early is because, again, let's create this situation where Moira's back in spawn here. Wrecking Ball might just be trying to create a pickoff opportunity. No one who's serious about this game, really has a decent understanding, gets terribly mad when their team's Hanzo, Ashe, Widow, Roadhog, Zen that has 5 orbs charged, whatever, goes ahead and peeks a fresh angle on a team that has one more player than them. So say you're in a 5v6 situation on attack, you're waiting for your Moira to come back, and your Zen goes, hey, we've been playing from here. I'm going to peek through here and look for a cutesy little shot on this Ashe over here. Or, hey, you're playing your Widow on blue team. I'm going to grapple up here and look for this cutesy little shot, and then I'll hop down, whatever. No one really gets mad at those things because, hey, they've got a pretty decent chance of taking someone down. Could they get eliminated and stagger themselves? Yes, they absolutely could. But as long as they're a pretty strong poke hero, it's a fresh angle, and they're doing it into relatively even numbers. They're not doing it into like a 3v6 type situation. Hey, works for me. That's okay. They have a reasonable shot of getting the elimination, which will make the push easier. Okay, that makes sense. It also helps enforce the space that you have and not have the other team just come encroach and take more space when you're down one player like that. So that's a thing that's okay for poke DPS to do. Okay. Well, here's the thing. Wrecking Ball sets up poke heroes masterfully. A Wrecking Ball, for example, knocking Ashe down is just like, oh, it's free. Let's Hog just grab this Ashe here. A Wrecking Ball hitting a pile drive and knocking this Ana up creates a situation where, oh, easiest 5 orb of my life. Let me just hit my 5 orb and drag it down a little bit and get that pick off here. And your Wrecking Ball isn't spending very much to accomplish that. They're in a situation where they can spend a 4-second cooldown tether and maybe 250 health, maybe, probably less, to create a situation, to create an opportunity that had maybe a 30% chance, a 40% chance of getting a pick. That number goes up as people's aim gets better and goes down as people's aim gets worse, but that's what you're looking at there. That is totally worth, and is a reason that it might seem like, hey, my Wrecking Ball is going in super early. Of course, my team isn't ready to push. What is he doing? He's trying to create opportunities. So that first category that we talked about for Winston, where Winston might jump on someone to hold them at low health, yeah, it would be great if they left, but what he's really doing is he's holding them at low health so that a Genji can dash through, so that a Tracer can get in, so that an Ashe can shoot in there and just grab the elimination, and it's really easy. He's doing that same thing in his Wrecking Ball way. But his way, he can do a roll through really more safely than Winston can do a soft dive onto someone. So you might see him do that, and then because part of why he can do that safely is he can come from different directions that aren't the direction of his team. He can grab health packs. He can do his things. Against some comps, he can't do that as well. There's too many stuns. There's a Sombra, things like that. That's going to be harder for him. But that might be a reason that you see him going in before it seems like the team's ready and he's, not doing things. But there is a trade-off to this. There's this trade-off to, hey, if your Wrecking Ball helped your team rotate, or if your Wrecking Ball was creating pick opportunities, he's now potentially going to be down cooldowns for a couple seconds. He's pretty fast at re-grabbing health packs and going back in, but it might mean, and this is just because he's not an amazing Wrecking Ball, because we are talking about metal ranks here primarily, it may mean that now your team does have to wait 2 extra seconds once they have their 5 ready to push whatever, before he's going to be ready to push again. That's just life. That's how that's going to go. If he was better, he'd actually time his opportunities, time his windows as such that no, he was able to help you rotate and then still wait, or he was able to create a pick opportunity and then leave and then didn't go for a second or a third pick opportunity if it delayed the next one. But again, you're making plenty of mistakes too if you're playing with Wrecking Balls that are making this mistake commonly. Okay. And then the last sort of timing that you'll run in for Wrecking Balls is that they're constantly going in and out. They're just constantly going through. They're just constantly going through, finding their way around, doing that sort of thing. And you're like, WTF, you're constantly going in. We don't know when you're going to pile drive and adaptive shield and fight versus when you're just going to roll through. What are we supposed to do? Well, the thing is, constantly going in like that, it's not actually the best thing in the world, but it has some level of efficiency to it. It creates situations where, hey, the enemy team is just like paranoid and annoyed and a little bit of tilted, which is just value. We're not going to complain about the enemy team being tilted, being hyper worried about the ball, whatever. It also creates situations where, again, even if he doesn't know exactly why it's working, what he's doing, he's going to create situations where, hey, by just constantly going in, sometimes I'm creating picks. Again, he might not know that that's what he's doing, or that's why it's sort of working for him to do that. And by constantly going in, he might not have figured out that he's helping his team rotate sometimes. He just knows that when he constantly goes in, his team sort of tends to win team fights more than they lose them. And hey, so it's helping his team rotate. It's helping them get picks. Again, it's not perfect because we'd like him to be able to do a hard go in when his team is actually ready to push or actually pushes rather than sort of the constant roll throughs. And we don't want him to hard commit and not have adaptive shield on what was a rotation type thing rather than this. And if he's just constantly going in and not really thinking about it, that's not fantastic. What do you do about it? Who cares? You can still push off of it, even if it's just him doing a roll through when you'd have preferred it was a pile drive, adaptive slam, gunner mode, stay in, whatever. You can still push off of it. The other team probably is somewhat paranoid at this point, and once he sees you actually in and fighting the other team on his next roll through, which isn't very far away, he'll probably adjust and go ahead and do the pile drive, adaptive shield fight type thing. So that's sort of like how you play with a Wrecking Ball. It might seem frustrating. It might seem like, oh, they never fight the tank line. They're not helping our Sigma push. They're not helping our Zarya push, whatever. They are. They are turning people around. They are making people paying attention to them. They're creating lots of pickoff opportunities for your team. They are hitting these, big slams that pull a lot of attention to them. They are doing generally what they're supposed to be doing. Even if they're doing the not stupid, but even if they're doing the full uptime whatever thing and they're not adjusting it slightly to make sure they have uptime for the right time, they are mostly doing what they have there, and they're mostly not feeding. Yes, if they're going in 1v6 when 5 of you are in spawn, they're probably feeding, but frequently that's not what's actually happening. They're stuck, they tried to get out, then they tried to sneak away, and someone managed to catch them type thing, and they're just wiping from the previous fight. So that's sort of what you would want to know. So what does this mean from a grand scheme of things? How do you play with Wrecking Balls? How do you play with dive tanks if you're trying to up your win percentage? It means pay attention to them. Just like a main tank is going to pay attention to his team to get engagement timings right, if you feel like your main tanks aren't doing the greatest job, or if you feel like, they're never helping us fight the front line, you probably just need to pay attention to when they're engaging and then walk. You can walk into the Reinhardt. You can. I know it's scary, but you can walk into the Reinhardt. It's even better if you walk around the Reinhardt and start hitting him from the angles, whatever. But you can go, hey, the Briggs then Hog, or the Briggs then Diva, or the Moira plus Lucio plus Zarya are going to fight the Reinhardt. You can do that and win. It's perfectly fine if you do that when the Wrecking Ball is actually doing things, when the Winston is actually doing things. So that's number one. Don't be afraid to actually go in and fight, especially when these people are tying up snipers, tying up supports, that sort of thing. And also look for opportunities to go, hey, this person, this Winston, this Zarya, they are creating opportunities where lethal is being threatened, where, hey, they pile drove on a Zen, and now that Zen is one-shottable by a sniper. They held someone at low health, and now a TNT will finish off a Ana, or now a Genji dash will get an Ana and a soldier that are in that Tesla rain, etc. So look for opportunities to convert their lethals on the targets that they are threatening. Look to take space when they push people back, including look to actually push in and fight. Consider it the start of a fight when they actually go in like that. I hope that made sense. I don't want to make this too ranty. And again, ball players, Winston players, do not think that this means the ladder will adjust to you and start playing correctly and recognizing, oh, these are engagement timings. They're not going to, but a few of them will see this, and a few of them will themselves be able to do it better. This is not your solution. This is the solution for them. That said, again, if you play Wrecking Ball and Winston, hey, this is going to be a situation where now you do probably or potentially understand those heroes a little bit better. Okay. Let's take a look here and see what people have to say. James Daly says, but we need a Reinhardt. Yeah. Maddie says, my face when people say shield tank, please, just so they can be lazy with positioning. Exactly. Gonna watch the stream tomorrow. Have a like for now. Thank you, Carolina. James says, we need a Reinhardt, and they have to do all the callouts, and if their shield breaks or they die, then it's main tank difference, and there's nothing we can do. Yeah, that's about how this goes. And they should also never drop shield. Exactly. Yes, let's play Orisa Ryan. Please don't. Pancake says, wrong, Maddie. Shield, please, means Reinhardt, and when they didn't even use the shield anyways, flanking solo. Orisa Ryan is the best tank comp because the only thing better than one shield is two shields. Moira Pap is the best healing comp because more heals equals better. These hurt. Shield, please. We are losing, and I don't know why. So maybe shield. Yes, must be the shield. Oh yeah. That's how it works. And people that do want to play ball understand that what you're going to be facing here, and similar with Winston, they're not as bad because he does at least drop a bubble, and people are like, well, you could be the second shield. We just need a Reinhardt to go with you. But yeah, that's how that works. if you play main tanks that aren't Reinhardt and to a lesser degree Orisa and Sigma well in lower ranks, you're going to find that, you know, the other team is more likely to be like, oh, that player was good, than your team is going to be. That's just how they work. That's what you're looking at. People do not like the tanks that they don't understand. They want the simple tank that they understand how to engage behind. Hopefully that's not true for everyone, and there will be some people who watch this video and go, oh, okay, I want to go ahead and win more games. I see how they engage here. This is how that works. The nearest hero in Apex Legends has a drill that goes through cover like walls and damages people behind it. She would be terrible in Overwatch because nobody uses walls as cover. I love it. I love it. Oh, look, science stuff nobody asked for. We demand FNAF, Friday Night at Freddy's. I hear you, Adam. Pretty interesting idea. I mean, they have that. It's called Dragon Strike. Like, Dragon Strike already exists. It's just an ult in this game. Overwatch is coming soon, right? 70 days till all season? Hopium? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, Super went on a rant recently that made it to, you know, front pages of competitive Overwatch, things like that. It's pretty short notice for everyone to still be using what they were. We sort of saw bad signs there. Like, we sort of saw bad signs. We then saw good signs, but, like, it was clear that the delay was announced. Like, it was clear that there were delays after they'd already announced that, oh, Overwatch, this season of Overwatch League was going to be on Overwatch 2, or, you know, a beta of it. And it's sort of like, that was a terrible sign, but everyone just continued like, yeah, it's still happening. Mostly because they had to. The owners were not going to accept them not doing it, but it's become a pretty pickle of how did they solve this. Kagek says, Temp, do you think Wrecking Ball was a good addition to the game? He kind of overshadows Winston and will lead to a ton of power creep in my opinion. No, I don't. I mean, he's a fun hero to play, don't get me wrong, but I think it's the sort of thing where the game was actually complete from a tanking perspective. It really was. When it went, okay, we have Reinhardt, we have Winston, we've added Orisa, we have Zarya, we have D.Va, we have Roadhog. Double poke tanks without having double shield. Dive combo, brawl combo. Now, we've seen some cross-up with these, whatever. That really is a result of Brig that has caused some of the cross-up there, as well as an evolution of the understanding of, oh, wait, having D.Va to contest off angles is better than Zarya for Reinhardt. But this was, like, what the game needed. This was, like, the design. This was right. Orisa made Winston's category too niche. Sigma pushed Roadhog from, hey, I'm somewhat maybe sort of useful here, even though this is questionably probably more useful, into, okay, what am I supposed to do? Other than just be a ladder hero, which is what he is. Yeah. The game was really supposed to have these 6 tanks. It was. That's what it was. Likewise, you know, BAP probably did bad things for the game in terms of, hey, that hero shouldn't really exist. You know, we've seen some reworks of DPS heroes that don't really make sense. We've seen Echo finish pushing Genji out of existence, make Pharah question her existence a little bit. You know, some of this was always going to be, hey, as we add more heroes, people's toes are going to get stepped on, but I don't think the tank role was actually ready for more than 6 heroes like this. It was always going to be tough to create a situation where Winston saw meaningful play that wasn't super niche with Wrecking Ball in existence, because they did just design him better, stronger. And you know, Reinhardt has also been pushed almost out of his existence, where Reinhardt sometimes can live, but Reinhardt's success in this game in more recent years has been off of, let's have a super powerful BAP and let's have a super powerful Cassidy. We don't have a super powerful Cassidy right now, but when Reinhardt was seeing a lot of play, it wasn't because Reinhardt, it was because BAP and Cassidy. Like, as we've made this game more power creeped, the original heroes suffer. We know that. James says, my cousin works at Blizzard and said Overwatch 2 will be a collectible card battling game with boyfriend simulator and pinball elements. I mean, that might work as a mobile game. That might make money. I don't know. As someone who enjoys playing Brig, I'm always happy to see Ball in my game, especially on the red team, but on blue team it's okay too. Hey, Makes sense to me. You get to throw packs at your ball. You get to bash their ball. You've got something to do. It justifies your existence. Makes sense to me. Hi, Temporal. Have you seen new matches in Overwatch? I'm guessing that's Collegiate Cup. No, I've only seen my teams. My team's matches came up while I was prepping for this, and one of my players reached out to me about them to see if we could reschedule one of them. But no, I have not. I have not looked through them and evaluated them yet. I might evaluate them. I will maybe go ahead and do what I did last week, which is put up the most interesting matches to watch. If there was enough movement last week, and I don't think there was, I might do another set of power rankings. There's collegiate stuff I'll do as a result of them, though. Yeah. Is there anything to watch while Owl is in the off season? Yeah, collegiate. Literally collegiate. Collegiate, like the top 32 teams, the top 50 teams, really the top 50 to 60 teams are GM plus, and the top 8 teams are quite fine. They would be perfectly fine in contenders trials level games. A couple of them would be contenders level. Redbirds, ISU last season, literally sent 4 players onto Owl. Northwood is the core of Solus, and you're looking at that. Those are effectively 2 of the strongest Overwatch contenders teams in North America last season, which was one of the stronger regions. I mean, collegiate is good. Collegiate is good. It's fun to watch. It's organized play. It exists. And, it's like, hey, this is a little more actually the location-based promise, etc. So I would say collegiate is the thing to watch while you wait for Owl. And we just did week 1 of the main Blizzard tournament league, whatever, of the season. We'll have 3 more weeks of Swiss play. Then we'll have some, group stage type stuff. I don't think they're calling it group stage this time. Then we'll have a playoffs, which I think we made double elimination this time. So we've probably got a good month and a half, 2 months of that left. So, hey, 2 months, that's a good lead into Overwatch League right there. I think you guys are playing our D2 team. Are you Rutgers? I saw we're playing the Squires there. What level is your Squire team? I know you guys are doing pretty okay this season, at least what I'm seeing based on your scrim advertisements. I've talked to you guys a few times about, hey, we've reached out for scrims or missed the ability to schedule scrims a few times, just not quite lined up. But I think, yeah. I do have a team in collegiate, yes. I do coach Northeastern there. So I actually do coaching for some other teams as well, but Northeastern is the team that you'd consider me affiliated with. Scrimming 4K. Okay. You've done videos on the best EPS to play now and the best tanks to play now. When will we restore the balance and do the best supports to play now? I feel like I've done a fair amount of support content lately, so I wanted to do a little more tank content, which this covers. I've also seen a fair bit of tank threads. I saw yet another how do you play with Wrecking Ball thread, which is part of what inspired this. I've seen why hasn't Winston used more threads. I've seen quite a bit really of tank interest threads on the subreddit, which made me go, maybe there's a little more hunger for this right now. But don't worry, we will do more Overwatch content in general. I'd like this to be a Overwatch content heavy week. We have a new player. He hasn't played yet though. Hasn't played in scrims yet, or hasn't played in an official yet. And didn't you guys have a reasonably challenging match? I want to say I had Rutgers versus someone as one of my matches to watch last week. You know what? I can probably... it'd be too hard. It would be too slow to... would it be too slow to find this? Would it? I bet I can find it pretty quickly. Let's take a look. I want to say Rutgers was on my matches to watch last week. I clearly didn't actually get to watch it, but yeah, you guys played against Rit Orange there. I don't remember who got that. I think you guys did. Okay. You played Rit and had 2 subs. Reasonably close, though. Okay. Cool. Anyway, I think that covers what we need to here. I'm happy to talk about collegiate more. I'm happy to talk about how to play with a wrecking ball or a Winston more. I'm happy to, you know, answer questions or listen to people. Well, maybe not listen to, but watch people yell at me about how no, everyone should just change to Reinhardt and that would make them happy. Again, if you want to win the game, you have to figure out how to work with everyone. You have to figure out how to contribute in every type of scenario setup, whether it be, hey, your team doesn't understand how to push when you're playing Wrecking Ball or Winston, or whether it be, your team isn't playing the Orisa that you want them to, or the Sigma that you want them to, or the Reinhardt that you want them to. Okay, I think that's going to do it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks. Oh, if you're enjoying, please do drop a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't done so. And if you want to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below. Plugged my little ad. You guys know the drill. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Temporal out.